Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at this game 2 between the Heat and the Celtics on Wednesday. Had a pretty good night on Tuesday as the playoffs continue to roll along. Another plus money night, not as good as the past 3 nights to kick off this playoffs, but still looking really good. We'll go through the show record and all these picks tomorrow on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern during that live stream. Going to finalize some picks in there with you guys, invite you in. Jump in the comments, give me the bets that you want to look at as well, and then we go through those together. I show you some of the tools that I'm using. All the links to those tools are in the description of the video, alongside that Discord link as well, if you want to come in there and jump in with everybody so we can keep bringing these bets to the surface, finding the best value together, having a really good time with y'all in there. So make sure to head over there. For now, let's get into Heat Celtics Game 2. Couple of key players still missing for the Heat. We know Jimmy Butler's probably not going to make it back for these playoffs, and Terry Rozier is still hurt as well. So offense is going to be hard to come by once again for this Heat team, who only scored 94 points in Game 1. Jaime Jaquez back into the starting lineup in place of Jimmy Butler in this one. So probably still going to be looking at him to get some pretty good numbers in this one. I do have 2 best bets from this game. Jaime Jaquez is not yet one of them, but might throw him on there in the live stream tomorrow. Everybody you see here for the Celtics is going to be a go once more. Luke Cornett is out, and that could be a coach's decision. Not really a big deal either way, as they don't really need much help down low to the Celtics squad. Papa Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, and obviously both the Jays, Jason and Jalen, are going to be fine to go in this one. And the Heat, without much of a front court at this point, mostly going to be Bam Adebayo on his lonesome. Maybe some Jaime Jaquez, and I think we'll see some Kevin Love as well. But there's advantages pretty much all over the floor at this point for Boston. None bigger than the three-point shooting, which is obviously the story of Game 1. 22 of 49 threes for this team, outscoring the Heat from behind the arc by 30 points, at 10 more threes than them, 45% from deep. 32.5% for the Heat wasn't terrible, but it certainly wasn't good enough to hang around with this Celtics squad. The rebounding, as I mentioned about the down-low presence of the Celtics team, way better. 58% of the rebounds went their way. 14 of 16 from the free throw line. Like, the Heat aren't getting anything easy. They're not getting any spot-ups. They're not getting any free throws. They're barely getting points in the paint, which we can look at as well. 44. Great. They beat up on the Celtics down low in terms of outscoring them from down low, but the Celtics didn't even try to go down there, right? The points in the paint was the only advantage that this team had. They couldn't really crash the offensive boards, and they missed a bunch of shots, as you saw. They really didn't get any points off of those turnovers as the Celtics took care of the ball. Fast break, yeah, they got out and got a few more points than the Celtics in the fast break, but the Celtics were just playing with their food in Game 1, and it's really hard for me to see a way back for this Heat team. We've got a 14.5 point spread going into Game 2 here, 13.5 in Game 1, which they covered, winning by 20 in that game as well. So I do not see the outs for the Heat. I'm looking at this series and pretty much assuming that they're drawing dead moving forward. Not sure we have any value to bet on the Celtics, but I do have a couple best bets for you. The first one is one we went with in Game 1, and I don't have any reason not to go back to it in Game 2, and that is Kevin Love to get 11 points and rebounds. We're actually getting better juice on this bet, and I mean, it's in part because we saw him get the 13 minutes in last game. I mean, look, even if he gets 13 or 14 minutes, I'm still good with this bet, but I've got to assume that he's going to get 3 to 4 more minutes in this game. There's nobody coming off the bench besides Kevin Love that can really help out in terms of getting those rebounds, helping out down low, creating a little bit of a mismatch at times, at least, to be able to pull the bigs for the Celtics out to the three-point line, since he is a deadly three-point shooter still in this point in his career. But really, I mean, it doesn't even matter how well he does. I don't know if they're going to win this game. He does go over, though, in these situations, right? So he's played 8 games without Jimmy Butler this year, where he's gone at least 12 minutes. All 8, and that includes last Game 1 here. And all 8 of those games, he's gone over this total of 10.5 points and rebounds. He's averaging 14 in those games he's averaging 16 minutes as long as he plays more than 12, averaging about 16. And that's going to be the case for him against Boston. I got to believe that. Like, they need him on the floor versus Boston. I got to believe that he would have come back in earlier in the third quarter to get a few more minutes in the Game 1, but it was already out of control. By the time we were midway through the third quarter, that game was completely over. So it didn't really matter if Kevin Love played a couple more minutes or not. And we only saw him for a few minutes in the second half overall because it was never close anymore. I don't know that it's going to be close in this one, but hopefully he gets a few more minutes in the first half in general, and then he can just finish things off in the second half. He almost got us there in the first half of this last game. So going to go right back to Kevin Love in Game 2. One more for you here for the Celtics and Heat game. Peyton Pritchard over 3.5 assists. His core line is 2.5. So you can get that if you want to take it for like minus 160. That might be the best juice that you can find for over 2.5 assists for him. But I'm just going to go right to the over 3.5 and put a half a unit on it and not worry about laddering up and trying to play the over 2.5 for basically no return on my money there. I'm just going right to the juicier bet with a few less, half a unit on instead of the full one, basically. And really what this is like, first of all, there's the likelihood that this is a blowout. And then Peyton Pritchard is your point guard for damn near 30 minutes, maybe 28 minutes at that point, because he's going to play a ton in the second half if this thing gets out of control early. But really, even if he doesn't, we saw him get 24 minutes and playing in that sort of right off the bench role, right? Like he wasn't getting scrub minutes, if you will. He was getting backup minutes as the actual backup point guard for the Celtics now. Came in early in the second quarter, end of the first, I believe, and got those 24 minutes in game one. 5 assists on 6 potential assists. So I understand that that's a little bit scary there, but his potential assists on the season when he plays at least 20 minutes are up to about 12. So if he's going to play 20 minutes, the likelihood of him getting a lot more potential assists in this next game, pretty high. And even though he's playing with the starters, like I said, he's the point guard. You look at the passes made, passes attempted for this dude, and he when he was on the floor, he was the floor general, essentially. In 30 different games this year, he's played 24 or more minutes, which is what he got in game one. He's gotten 4+ assists in 24 of those 30 games, averaging 6, right? So look, the over 2.5 is a great bet if you want to, even if you want to just drink that minus 160. But I'm just going right, like I said, going right back to just a half a unit. Still feeling really good about the money that we've made so far in the playoffs, and don't need to give any back foolishly. If he doesn't get the 2.5, if he doesn't get the 3.5 rather, and he gets 3, all right, we missed out on a few bucks. But more importantly, if he does hit this 4 and we just go right to it, then we're in a good spot to get some pretty good money back on our bet here on Peyton Pritchard. And that is all the time that I have for you in this one. Make sure you're subscribed to the page. Also got a video coming up here early morning on Wednesday to also look at that Thunder and Pelicans game 2. So we're going to have some breakdowns there. Best bets in that video as well. And then going to get a few more up during that live stream, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys stop by, check it out. Head to the description of the video if you want to check out that Discord link as well. Getting a lot of good looks from everybody in the Discord. Got a really large amount of people in there for just about a week and a half of doing this. So really looking forward to continuing along with that with you guys. And until I see you next, happy betting.